I never thought I'd be packing up my desk at Wilson and Sons, our family's consulting firm, with my brother Marcus standing over me like a triumphant dictator. His expensive suit and perfectly styled hair seemed to mock me as he watched me empty my drawers with barely concealed satisfaction. "Make sure you don't take anything that belongs to the company," he sneered, adjusting his Rolex, a gift from our father last Christmas. "Though I doubt you've contributed anything worth keeping." I carefully placed my family photo face down in the cardboard box. The image of happier times, before Dad's passing, before Marcus took control, felt like it belonged to someone else's life now. "You know, Marcus," I said, keeping my voice steady as I unplugged my laptop, "someday you might regret this." He laughed, the sound echoing through the now quiet office. Most employees had gone home, but a few lingered, pretending not to watch the owner's children in their final confrontation. "Regret what, Sarah? Finally getting rid of the dead weight? You've been holding this company back with your innovative ideas and modern approaches. This is a traditional consulting firm, not some Silicon Valley startup." I thought about the confidential documents sitting in my home office, the contracts that would make Marcus's head spin. But now wasn't the time. Everything had to play out perfectly. "Traditional doesn't mean obsolete," I replied, placing my awards in the box. Awards that, ironically, had brought more revenue to Wilson and Sons than Marcus's entire department. "Just leave, Sarah. You're embarrassing yourself." Marcus straightened his tie, a nervous habit he'd had since childhood. "I'm doing what Dad should have done years ago." My hand froze over the box. "What's that supposed to mean?" "Oh, come on. We both know he only kept you around out of guilt. The weaker child, the one who needed extra help." His smile turned cruel. "But I'm running things now, and I don't need dead weight." I stood up straight, looking him in the eye. At 32, Marcus was only 2 years older than me, but he carried himself like he was ancient royalty, entitled to everything simply because he was born first and male. "You really believe that, don't you?" I asked quietly. "That Dad favored you because you were better?" "He favored me because I understand business, real business, not your fairy tale ideas about corporate responsibility and sustainable growth." He waved his hand dismissively. "Look at you, in your off-the-rack suit, driving that basic car. When was the last time you closed a major client?" If he only knew about the meetings I had scheduled for tomorrow, about the contracts sitting on my desk at home, about who really owned Spectrum Industries, the client he was so proud of landing last month. "You're right, Marcus. When was the last time I brought in a major client?" I picked up my box and headed for the door. "I guess we'll find out soon enough." "What's that supposed to mean?" His voice had a slight edge now, that hint of uncertainty he always got when he couldn't fully read a situation. Before I could answer, heels clicked on the marble floor of the hallway. Angela Chen, CFO of our biggest potential client, Global Dynamic Solutions, appeared in the doorway. Her sharp business suit and commanding presence immediately filled the room. "Sarah, there's my favorite CEO," she exclaimed warmly, then stopped short, taking in the scene before her. Me with my box of belongings, Marcus's thunderstruck expression. The silence that followed was deafening. Marcus's face had gone from smug to confused to horrified in the span of seconds. I could almost see the wheels turning in his head, trying to make sense of what he just heard. "CEO," he stammered, looking between Angela and me. "There must be some mistake. Sarah's just a junior consultant here." Angela's perfectly shaped eyebrow arched. "Oh? That's not what my records show about the owner of Phoenix Industries." She turned to me, her expression professional but her eyes twinkling. "Sarah, I thought we were meeting tomorrow to discuss the acquisition." Marcus grabbed the edge of my old desk for support. Phoenix Industries, the parent company of Global Dynamic Solutions, Spectrum Industries, and half a dozen other major corporations, was known for its mysterious CEO who never appeared in public. "That's right," I said calmly, enjoying the way Marcus's face had lost all color. "But since I'm no longer employee here, perhaps we should move the meeting up." After all, I smiled at my brother. I wouldn't want to waste anyone's time with my fairy tale ideas about business. Marcus's mouth opened and closed like a fish out of water. The Rolex on his wrist suddenly looked cheap, his expensive suit ill-fitting. In one moment, his entire world had shifted on its axis. You're the owner of Phoenix Industries," he whispered. But that's impossible. They're worth billions." "Nothing's impossible, brother. You just need the right innovative ideas and modern approaches. I turned to Angela. Shall we discuss the terms of acquiring Wilson and Sons over coffee? I know a great place down the street. As we walked out, leaving Marcus frozen in place, I couldn't help but think about how long I'd waited for this moment. 10 years of building my empire in secret, watching Marcus run our father's company into the ground with his outdated methods and bloated ego. Tomorrow, everything would change. But for now, I savored the look on my brother's face as he realized that the sister he just fired wasn't just an employee. I was about to become his boss. The next morning, I sat in my real office, the penthouse suite of the Phoenix Industries building downtown. Floor-to-ceiling windows offered a sweeping view of the city, including the modest Wilson and Sons building 8 blocks away. My father's company looked small from up here, just like Marcus's ambitions. My assistant Michael knocked softly before entering. The Wilson and Sons board members are all here. They're waiting in the main conference room. He paused, a slight smile playing on his lips. Your brother arrived 20 minutes early. He's been pacing the hallway since. I took a slow sip of my coffee, savoring the moment. How does he look? Like he hasn't slept. The Armani suit can't hide the dark circles under his eyes. I nodded, checking my reflection in the window. Unlike Marcus, I'd slept perfectly well. Let's not keep them waiting. The main conference room fell silent as I entered. 8 board members from Wilson and Sons sat around the massive oak table, their expressions ranging from shock to disbelief to careful neutrality. Marcus sat at the far end. His usual commanding presence diminished. His hair, typically perfectly styled, looked hastily combed, and his designer tie was slightly crooked. Good morning, everyone, I said, taking my seat at the head of the table. I believe you all received the acquisition proposal last night. Marcus cleared his throat. Sarah, we need to talk about this. Privately, as family. I raised an eyebrow. Family? Yesterday you couldn't wait to throw me out of it. I turned to the board members. Let me be clear about the situation. Wilson and Sons is currently facing a critical decision. Your company's market share has dropped 15% in the last 2 years. Your innovative client base is shrinking. Your technological infrastructure is outdated. One of the board members, Mr. Peterson, spoke up. With all due respect, Ms. Wilson, how do you know so much about our internal affairs? I smiled, sliding a folder across the table. Because I've been watching. Every client you've lost in the past year has signed with one of my subsidiary companies. Every contract Marcus thought slipped through his fingers landed on my desk. Marcus's face flushed red. You've been sabotaging us. No, brother. I've been competing with you. There's a difference. I opened my laptop, projecting a graph onto the screen behind me. This shows Wilson and Sons' revenue decline over the past 5 years. And this, I clicked to the next slide, shows Phoenix Industries' growth during the same period. The contrast was stark. While our father's company had been steadily declining, my empire had grown exponentially. I'm offering to acquire Wilson and Sons for $50 million, I continued. That's generous, considering your current market position. The alternative is watching your company continue its decline until there's nothing left to save. Marcus stood up abruptly, his chair scraping against the floor. This is ridiculous. You can't just walk in here and... Sit down, Marcus, Mr. Peterson cut in sharply. Your sister is making a business proposal. Let's hear her out. I could see the moment Marcus realized he was losing control. The board members weren't looking to him for leadership anymore. Their attention was fixed on me. The terms are simple. I continued. Phoenix Industries will absorb Wilson and Sons, modernizing its infrastructure and integrating it into our corporate network. All current employees will keep their positions, with opportunities for advancement in the larger organization. I paused, looking directly at Marcus. All current employees except senior management, that is. You can't fire me, he whispered, but his voice lacked conviction. This is my company. Dad left it to me. Dad left it to both of us. I corrected him. But you pushed me out because you couldn't see past your own ego. You thought success meant expensive suits and luxury watches. While you were playing businessman, I was building something real. The board members exchanged glances. They knew I was right. They'd watched Marcus prioritize appearances over substance for years. How did you do it? Marcus asked, his voice hollow. How did you build all this without anyone knowing? I thought back to the day Dad died. when Marcus had immediately assumed control, treating me like an afterthought. When you took over Wilson and Sons, I knew I'd never have a real voice there, so I started small, consulting for struggling tech startups. I helped them grow, took ownership stakes instead of fees. While you were forcing our father's outdated methods, I was learning, adapting, evolving. I clicked to another slide showing Phoenix Industries' current portfolio. Every company here started as someone else's underestimated opportunity. Just like I was your underestimated opportunity, Marcus. Mr. Peterson cleared his throat. I moved to vote on the acquisition offer. Second, another board member quickly added. Marcus watched helplessly as hands raised around the table. The vote was unanimous. Wilson and Sons would become part of Phoenix Industries. As the board members filed out, Marcus remained seated, staring at his folded hands. For the first time, I saw him as he really was. Not the confident heir to our father's legacy, but a man who'd been coasting on privilege and assumptions. What happens to me now? He asked quietly. I sat down beside him. That depends on you. Are you ready to learn? Really learn, not just pretend you know everything. He looked up, surprised. You'd still give me a chance. After everything. Your family, Marcus. Real family, not the kind that kicks people out when they don't fit your image. I pulled out a contract from my briefcase. I'm offering you a position in our development division. Entry level. You'll report to people younger than you. It won't be easy, and your fancy suits won't impress anyone. But you'll learn what real business is about. His hands trembled slightly as he took the contract. Why? Why offer me anything? Because 10 years ago, when you pushed me out of Dad's office, told me I'd never amount to anything, you taught me the most valuable lesson of my life. I stood up, straightening my jacket. You taught me that sometimes people's biggest mistake is underestimating those they consider beneath them. I walked to the door, then turned back. The position is available if you want it. But understand this, you'll have to earn every step up from here. No shortcuts, no favoritism. Just hard work and merit. Think you can handle that? Marcus looked down at the contract, then back at me. For the first time since we were kids, I saw genuine humility in his eyes. I can learn, he said softly. Good. I smiled. Because lesson 1 starts tomorrow, don't be late. As I walked back to my office, I thought about how differently things had turned out from what Marcus expected when he'd ordered me to pack up my desk just yesterday. He thought he was getting rid of dead weight, but instead, he'd finally learned the weight of his own actions. My phone buzzed, another notification about a potential acquisition. I smiled, thinking about how success isn't always about who starts at the top. Sometimes it's about who's willing to start at the bottom and build their way up, one underestimated opportunity at a time. In my office, I picked up the family photo I kept face down on my desk for years. Maybe it was time to take a new one that showed both Wilson children as they really were, not as anyone had expected them to be. After all, family businesses are complicated things. Sometimes it takes losing everything you thought you had to find something better than you ever imagined. Marcus was about to learn that lesson just as I had 10 years ago. And this time, we'd both be better.